Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to go over some movie news, but today I also wanted to include a reaction in the middle of that. I have time coded this video so that you guys can go ahead and pick and choose what you guys would like to hear me talk about. Today I'm just going to be going over some movie news and also the Hawkeye Disney Plus trailer. Very much anticipating that, and I'll talk more about that later. But yeah, guys, some of the movie news over the past couple weeks, it's been a little bit slow, but also there have been some very newsworthy and some sadly very depressing things in the news. First off, I'd like to start this video by saying Michael K. Williams, if you guys are not familiar with that actor, if you've never watched The Wire, if you've never watched Lovecraft Country, or that very funny episode of Community, or any of the other things that he showed up in. Yeah, the actor had passed away a couple weeks ago at the age of 54, and it's a sad loss. It's sad to see someone go at such a young age, and also someone who is so talented and someone who's going to be sorely missed. He's an incredible actor. If you guys have not caught Lovecraft Country, he is fantastic. He plays Jonathan Majors' character's father in the series, and he is just so good. He just was an actor who could tap into the raw nature of the character. He could tap at the very core of it. He could be vulnerable but also very stern, and he had this honesty in his eyes. He was very attentive in all of his performances, and it just always felt so natural coming out of him. He was just great. And I mentioned that episode of Community that he shows up in, where I think he's like a biology teacher or something like that. He teaches one of the classes, and his interaction with Joel McHale's character, and that is just incredible. He's so funny. So he was just naturally talented. He had comedic timing as well as just incredible dramatic chops. If you haven't seen Ava DuVernay's When They See Us, he is jaw-droppingly powerful in that series. He plays this vulnerability and also this sadness and this deep regret in all of his moments in that show, and it's just great. And it's sad to see such a huge talent pass away. But yeah, may he rest in peace. But wanted to mention that because this has been circling the news for the past couple weeks, and yeah, I mean, I think most people know by now, but just wanted to mention that because I was a huge fan of that actor and wanted to see him in more. But sadly, we will not. So just wanted to start that off by saying that. So yeah, I guess we'll move on to the next topic. This is more of a rumor, and like I said, it's not easy to move on to the next topic of something when you just previously talked about someone's passing away. But yeah, we will move on. So there is a rumor going on that Bane may appear in James Gunn's Peacemaker HBO spin-off show. Now, I don't know what you guys feel about the character of Bane. There are some good takes on him. I think The Dark Knight Rises is one of the best, or if not the best version, the best live-action version of Bane that we have received. But I'd say my personal favorite, which is not an accurate portrayal of Bane, but my personal favorite is from the Harley Quinn show. I think that Bane is hilarious, and he borrows a lot from The Dark Knight Rises and then kind of parodies himself. It's fantastic. If you guys are not watching that show, watch that show. It's so good. It's on HBO Max. So, speaking of HBO Max, I believe he is set to appear in Peacemaker, which will be debuting on HBO Max, starring John Cena, and also alongside the news or the rumor of Bane appearing. Like I said, this is just a rumor, and I don't know if any of the sources have confirmed it so far, but keep that in mind. But what we do have confirmed from that show is the first image from Peacemaker, which I will show you now. So our first image of Peacemaker shows John Cena, and this comes from comicbookmovie.com. I get a lot of my comic book movies sourced from, comicbookmovie.com. I love this website. I've been on this website for, I can't even count how many years I've been using this website, but I love it. But anyways, yeah, Peacemaker and Vigilante are shown in the first image from the show. If you guys are excited after watching The Suicide Squad, which I think is a highly underrated movie, not underrated as in critically underrated, but just the way it was received in the box office, I think it should have done way better. It deserved way better. But yeah, we get our first image of Peacemaker, which I guess is or isn't a spoiler for how that movie ends. But yeah, John Cena looking like John Cena, but we also have joined with him Vigilante, played by Freddie Stroma, who is an actor I'm not familiar with, but we get to see a different version of Vigilante. I think a lot of people are familiar with the cowboy and the handkerchief wearing version of Vigilante from the DC animated shows, but no, we are getting this version of Vigilante, which I think has appeared in some of the CW DC shows, which I haven't seen those. But yeah, we get to see him unmasked, but we see some of the costume is very similar to how he looks in the comics. And I think James Gunn is someone who does not shy away from just going directly from what is referenced on the pages, just ripping that straight off the page and just putting it on these actors and just going with it and not even addressing how ridiculous it is. I think it's funny, but also it works because when a director just takes a risk and says, hey, we're just going to make it part of this world. No one's going to really address it. Maybe Idris Elba will call it a toilet bowl once in the movie, but like that's about it. We're just going to play it straight, and I think that's perfect because comic books inherently are just ridiculous stories brought to the screen or brought to the page, and you know the believability comes from the writing of these characters and fleshing them out. So once you get that established, the costumes are kind of just a second thought. You know, it's not really that important to the character, but I like it. I like that James Gunn is doing this. I like that he is including characters with their comic accurate costumes and just making it his own, putting his own stamp on it. I love it. So yeah, nothing much, just this image, and yeah, I'll include a high def version. But yeah, guys, what do you guys think of Vigilante? Looks pretty good. I mean, we only get to see part of his costume here. But yeah, I honest to God, I thought this was Matt Smith when I first saw the photo. I was like, oh, Matt Smith is in this, but no, it's Freddie Stroma. So anyways, moving on to the next story. So if you guys have not caught the Matrix 4 or Matrix Resurrections trailer that came out the past week, I did watch that. I didn't do a reaction to it just because I personally don't have any real connection to the Matrix movies. I watched the first one and partially the second one. Third one I didn't even revisit. I think I just caught Matrix way too late in my life to honestly care. But I know how iconic those movies are, and I know how much we owe to the Matrix movies for everything that they've established in terms of shooting action scenes in American films, or even just the way that they kind of look at reality and look at the concept of sci-fi and where we can go with it. We owe a lot to the Wachowskis and what they did with the Matrix. So I understand that, but when I first watched it, I honestly was kind of underwhelmed just because I knew all the references. I pretty much saw all the movie just through osmosis. So it was all kind of just like, okay, so no surprises. And I think that's really the reason why The Matrix didn't stick with me. I see it as a good movie. I know that, but I don't see it as like one of my favorite movies like a lot of people do. And I just caught it too late in life, to be honest. I was already in my 20s. So yeah, I think that's on me. So yeah, not doing a reaction to it, but I think that this Matrix Resurrections trailer looks really intriguing. It does feel kind of like, and I think I heard a reviewer mention this, but it does kind of seem like Force Awakens of the Matrix, where it's kind of taking components of the first Matrix film and then sort of rebooting it, using some of the same elements and trying to sprinkle in some new ideas. Like we have Morpheus recast with Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, which he's nailing it. He's nailing that Lawrence Fishburne role. But I mean, it just sort of does feel like a rehash with some cool new visuals. I do like to see Jessica Henwick in this, so that's really cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued, to say the least. I love Keanu Reeves. I like that he has this resurgence, and I like that he's getting to revisit the role of Neo again. So yeah, what do you guys think of that trailer? Are you guys excited for it? Do I sound like such a downer because I'm not crazy about the Matrix? Do I suck because of it? Please let me know. So yeah, moving on. So this is going to be sort of the last big news thing, and I know there's a lot more to cover, but I felt like this was pretty important for me. But Shang-Chi smashes Labor Day weekend. This happened a couple weeks ago. Labor Day weekend, I caught the film and I watched it twice. And I do want to, I wanted to post a review for this movie earlier, but just scheduling things and just the amount of work that I had to do last week, and also I wanted to make it a discussion with one of my buddies, so that hasn't been working. Just the schedule, basically, just getting things to work and meld. It's really hard, but I do want to get that out. I know it's going to be way too late, but yeah, I was very excited about that movie, and I'm not going to say how I felt about it. I'll save that for the video, but I will just say that I'm very happy that Shang-Chi smashed Labor Day weekend. I'm glad that it surpassed people's idea of what could happen in a post-COVID world. I guess not post-COVID, but currently present COVID day world. So I'm really glad that it surpassed people's expectations. And apparently it raked in about 90 million domestically for that weekend and 146.2 million. And that number is continuing to grow. This past weekend, it surpassed Black Widow at the box office for its second week. So I hope that it just continues that trend. It's unfortunate that Black Widow didn't perform as well as, Shang-Chi. I mean, the first, okay, not the first female-led, but Black Widow. I mean, a character that's been a part of the Avengers doesn't get the same reception as Shang-Chi. Unfortunate, but also I'm very, very happy for Shang-Chi. So yeah, I'm glad that people are taking this movie on. I'm glad that people are receiving this well, even though I have my own things to say about Shang-Chi. It's not a perfect movie, and that's all I'll say. But I'm glad that people are receiving it well. I'm glad that people are critically praising it. I'm glad that some people are being very honest about how they feel about it. I'm glad that it's not just straight up the best thing that they've ever seen. I'm glad that there's two sides of the conversation happening. So yeah, I loved a lot about this movie, and I can't wait to talk about it. But guys, what did you guys think of the Labor Day weekend opening and the domestic haul and the overall haul for the past 2 weeks? What do you think about it beating out Black Widow for its second week? Let me know if you'd like to. So yeah, I'm just going to move on to the thing that I've been really looking forward to, which is the Hawkeye trailer. I'm going to do a reaction and just kind of talk about it. But yeah, Hawkeye overall, I know that the Disney Plus show is going to be inspired a lot by the Matt Fraction series that he wrote for Hawkeye, My Life as a Weapon. It's incredible. If you guys have not picked up this book or picked up any of the single issues, I highly recommend it. The artwork in these books are so minimal, but just so great. It really brings Hawkeye down to a level that we can kind of understand the character. I have always really liked Hawkeye. I've always liked his ridiculous costume, even though it looks like it's a ripoff of Wolverine. I've always liked the character of Hawkeye just because the idea of someone who has just perfected his craft to such a degree where he can, kick it with the Avengers. I've just always really liked that aspect. I always thought that was interesting, and I think Matt Fraction encapsulated that character the best. He does a really great job of dissecting the character while also introducing Kate Bishop and introducing the Pizza Dog, which I believe are all appearing in the series. I know that Haley Steinfeld is going to be playing Kate Bishop. Jeremy Renner is returning as Hawkeye, or Clint Barton. So yeah, a lot of cool things, and I've been really, really excited for the show. I hope that it is its own thing. I hope it's not like, oh, this, like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was, oh, it's kind of like Winter Soldier vibes, I hope it's its own kind of tone, and I can't wait to see this trailer. But yeah, I'll talk more about that. I'll shut up now. So let's get to the trailer. All right, let's play.
This is the first Christmas we've had together in years.
I love you guys. I'm making up for some lost time.
Is that Steve Rogers the musical?
Authorities are wondering if the masked vigilante who terrorized the city's underworld is back.
The past has caught up with me.
Should we be worried?
No, it's nothing. I'll be home for Christmas. I promise.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
When I wore this suit, I made a whole lot of enemies.
You're a Hawkeye.
Who the hell are you?
Some people have actually called me the world's greatest archer.
Are you one of those people?
It's the most wonderful.
This feels like a Shane Black movie.
Back in a day or two. Hang on a second. Things have gotten more complicated.
Oh, That's awesome. Oh, pizza dog.
It's the most wonderful time. Yes, the most
This is too dangerous. Definitely not this one.
You don't have to say definitely like that. Holy sh**. There are arrows more dangerous than that one?
Yeah. God damn it.
It's just some Christmas.
Yes. Yo, give me that now. Oh my god, I love it. It feels like a Shane Black movie married Die Hard. Yeah, guys, that was a great. I guess that's a teaser. It's an official trailer, but it felt like a teaser. But man, I thoroughly enjoyed that. The whole Christmas tone. That's probably why it feels like a Shane Black movie, just because most of his movies take place during Christmas time. But it does feel like its own thing. Like, I can't think of any Marvel movie that this is kind of grabbing from. Actually, yeah, I can. For some reason, this movie feels more like Iron Man 3 than any of the other movies, while also feeling more or less, you know, like its own thing, separate from Iron Man 3, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it feels like a grounded story. I love how Hawkeye feels like he's his own character in this. I've loved him in his small roles throughout the MCU movies, his relationship with Scarlet Witch and stuff. And I was like, man, when's he gonna get his own movie, or when's he gonna get his time to shine? Now's the time, man. And I love how they're taking the exact font from the Mad Faction series. I love it. I love it. I love how they're going with that aesthetic. And I hope they do a reveal of his costume, you know, the sunglasses and the little quiver on his chest as well. But all that aside, I'm not really even talking about the trailer. Haley Steinfeld, huge fan of that actress. She's so great. Edge of 17, True Grit, everything she's been in, she's completely sold it. Bumblebee, she was fantastic in that, and I was really excited when they cast her as Kate Bishop, because that was sort of in the rumor mill for a long time. Everyone was like fan casting Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, and yeah, looks like the wish fulfillment finally came through, and she finally signed on for it, and then she was casting it, and then we saw the first set pictures, and everyone was like, oh my god, it's happening, it's happening. Oh, the pizza dog's gonna be in there, and he is! And I couldn't be happier. I cannot wait for this. If there is any characters, and I think this is the problem with Black Widow, is that I think both Hawkeye and Black Widow should have gotten their own Disney Plus shows, which Hawkeye did, but I don't see why Black Widow didn't. I think she is a character that is ideal for a show, her own series, kind of dabbling into that character and kind of understanding more of, you know, the other Black Widows and that organization, and doing it episodically. I think that would have been so much more fitting. I think it would have made the villain a lot more threatening, and just, I don't know, flesh out the character even more. Also, if you guys have seen the end of Black Widow, you can see that it ties into, or I mean the post-credit scenes, you can see that it ties into the Hawkeye show in some way, or it might tie into the show in some way, but I believe Florence Pugh has been confirmed to show up in this Hawkeye show, and if you've seen that post-credit scene, then you understand the connection, but I won't say it or spoil it if you have not seen Black Widow. Yeah, I am completely sold on this. Like I said, it feels like Die Hard. It feels like Die Hard meets Shane Black. I guess I'll scrub through the trailer. There's not really anything like any key moments or any real character reveals besides the pizza dog that we'll see in this trailer. I think they'll save a lot, but that's the thing that I'm kind of hoping. I'm hoping it doesn't rely on you know, like huge character reveals or huge ties to the other characters in the MCU. I just kind of want it to be more self-contained. And I think that would make me happier. I feel like the more that the shows feel like they're just doing character studies, it's more interesting that way. And I know that he's sort of passing on the mantle because, you know, Jeremy Renner, he's getting up in age, so they're sort of establishing this show as a way to kind of pass the torch over to Haley Steinfeld's character, Kate Bishop, who, you know, she does become Hawkeye within the comic books. So yeah, I think they are setting up for the Young Avengers. That will probably be like 5 years at minimum down the line, maybe 10 years at most. It's crazy, the world that they're building. But yeah, we get to see the return of the Russo brothers' daughters playing Jeremy Renner's daughters, funny enough. I forgot her name, but you know, That's definitely Anthony or Joe Russo's daughter. So we get to see that Kate Bishop has been running around as a masked vigilante using the costume of Ronin from Avengers Endgame. How she got that costume, I have no idea. I don't know if Hawkeye has a storage unit that he just leaves open, but apparently she got in there, and she claims to be the best archer, according to who? Probably her friends on Facebook. But yeah, he chases her down, finds out who she is, and yeah, it seems like she's kind of a fanboy, which I would be too. Jeremy Renner has always been a phenomenal actor. I mean, okay, say what you will about his music. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't personally, but I think him as an actor, he is so underrated. And it's hard to say that because right at the gates when he premiered in The Hurt Locker, not premiered, but you know, when he debuted in Hurt Locker as one of his most iconic performances, people were like, this guy is incredible. And I think he was nominated for an Oscar for that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like he was. I think he was. And then he also showed that he could come to play again in The Town, which was directed by Ben Affleck, and he was incredible in that. If anything, he stole the movie in that. In that movie. So Jeremy Renner has always been a huge talent, and I feel like they have underutilized him in the MCU because he is just so good. And Wind River, if you have not seen Wind River, highly recommend you go see that. It's a Taylor Sheridan movie. It's incredible. You will cry. I was talking about this movie actually over the weekend with my buddies. But it's a movie, you watch it with your homies and someone's gonna cry. Someone's gonna cry. It's so good, and he is incredible in it. But yeah, and also Elizabeth Olsen's in it. So if you want to see Scarlet Witch, she's in that too. But yeah, the Punisher's in it. Sorry, my mind's going all over the place. But Jeremy Renner, finally getting his time to shine. I just want to include that tangent because, yes, he deserves his roses. He's so good. Okay, so I was gonna say it looks like Jeremy Renner is also going to be joined by Vera Farmiga, another talented actress. This cast is shaping up. I didn't do a lot of research on who's in the cast, just because I'm scared of what that might reveal. I don't want any spoilers. But yeah, it looks like this cast is going to blow my mind. I cannot wait. Vera Farmiga is incredible. If you have not been a fan of the Conjuring series, she's really good in that. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. I don't know who this character is. I am just loving just the feeling of the show overall. It looks like they're at a Renaissance fair. I really want to know what the background is for this. It looks like the show is going to be ridiculous without being too outlandish. It's going to stay grounded. It's not going to be ridiculous like Loki, but it's funnily enough, maybe Loki will show up in the scene since there was a Renaissance fair scene in there. Actually, no, that took place at a different time period. But yeah, it's funny that they both have Renaissance fairs. I feel like when they're shooting Loki, they're like, oh, do you guys still have the setup for the Renaissance fair? Okay, great. We're going to shoot a scene with Hawkeye. So can you guys clear set so we can start setting up? That's what it feels like. But I can't wait to see what happens here. Maybe this is how he finds Ronin, or Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop as Ronin. Man, it's a lot of things you gotta track. So I don't have really anything else to say about this trailer. It looks really fun. It's everything that I could really ask for. It's none of what I was expecting, but also kind of what I was expecting, and I say that because it feels like a spiritual successor to the Matt Fraction series, or it feels like it's keeping within that same tone, and I really like that. I really like that they're borrowing a lot from that series. I hope Matt Fraction gets his huge cut for this. I hope he doesn't get shafted like they did for Ed Brubaker. So yeah, Disney, Marvel, step it up, treat your writers well, and and I think everything will be okay. So yes, I was kind of hoping, and I know it's impossible to do it because Hawkeye kind of has a family in the MCU, but I really liked his interaction with the people that he lived with in his apartment in the Matt Fraction series. I really love that opening first few pages where he's just on the top of the rooftop shooting bottle caps or something like that, and he he misses, which everyone's like, hey, aren't you Hawkeye? Like, you never miss. And he's like, just one of those days or whatever. I don't exactly remember what happens in that, but I loved I loved how they opened that up with, you know, he is a guy who's known for never missing, but the thing is sometimes he does. He's just a guy who has to continually perfect his craft. He has to always practice just to be as sharp as he is, just so he can be one of the Avengers, and I think that makes him very compelling, and I hope they kind of visit that in this. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I cannot wait for November to come around. Man, guys, it's getting closer to Christmas. It's getting closer to the holidays. What do you guys think about that? Like, is this year going by as fast as I think it is? Because, man, it's crazy. It's going to be October soon. I'm going to be going to Disney World, and sadly, I won't be able to cover DC Fandom. I'm kind of bummed out about that because I'm pretty sure they're going to debut a new Batman trailer. So I'm just gonna have to watch it on my phone, sadly. But guys, what do you guys think of all of the movie news? What do you guys think of the Hawkeye trailer? Are you guys excited for it? I really hope you are, because Hawkeye is such an underrated character. Everyone makes jokes about him, but I think he deserves his roses. So yes, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like, subscribe, or whatever. And yeah, guys, hopefully I'll see you in the next video, which may or may not be a Shang-Chi review discussion with my buddy. So I'll see you guys then, and as always, guys, I will see you later.